Boss.
Okay, I'm ready, man. So, this is the Scuttlebutt podcast, man. We've been talking about this for probably like a year,
Couple months.
for a long ass
Yeah, for a
time.
long time.
So, just give you a quick overview what this podcast is about. So, growing up, I had both my grandparents, my grandfathers were combat veterans, and one of my favorite things to do as a young child is pick their brains and talk to them. I mean, so much where my mom actually asked me to stop asking my grandfather about the war because it made him upset and he would literally cry, which made me ask even more questions because my grandfather was literally like the strongest person I've ever met in my life. And what the hell happened to my grandfather that would make him cry 60 years later? It always intrigued me. So, years go by, I myself joined the military, and that opened up doors to so many veterans. You know, as being a veteran myself,
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to do would be go to a VFW or an American Legion, find some old guy at the bar and just talk to him. I could literally sit there and talk to the guy for hours. So much so, like, I've actually talked to a guy that was at the gates of Auschwitz when they shot the locks off. And talking to these people, I'm always like, man, these stories need to be told, man. Not just to me, but to the whole world needs to hear these things. We need to appreciate these people and what they're doing. So I've always had this idea to talk to people and create like a file, document it, and then eventually give it to their family and say, listen, one day you're probably going to want to hear this. It might be tough for you to hear now, but you need to hear this. And because once these veterans are gone, their story's gone. Their story's gone, you know. I can't ask my grandfathers any more questions. I wish I had this technology back then. So I always wanted to do this project, but then this podcast thing boomed. And I was like, man, what a great idea. Why don't I just talk to veterans, record it, create a podcast out of it? The whole world can hear it, you know? In about 10 minutes here, we're going to hear Andrew Farr's story, which is pretty amazing. So that's what the Scuttlebutt is. So for you that are
Can we roll back one sec?
Yes, sir.
Commander Flake. I've known you for a long time. By the way, my name's Andrew Farr, the co-host. Commander Flake asked me very nicely to be his co-host. But people are going to wonder, what does Scuttlebutt mean?
Yes.
And you, as a Navy person, you would be the best person to talk about what Scuttlebutt is. What is it?
So the term scuttlebutt is a term the Navy uses, and I believe the Marine Corps uses
We
also.
do. We took it from you.
Yeah, a scuttlebutt is a water cooler. So whenever there's a group of sailors standing around BS, and it's always near the water cooler. So the term scuttlebutt is referred to as either the water cooler, or it means like a rumor or the word on the street is. You know, our scuttlebutt is the skipper says we're pulling out tomorrow. And so that's what the term scuttlebutt is.
That's perfect. That's exactly how I learned it in boot camp.
Yes. So I figured since got a couple veterans sitting here talking about military shit, hey, the Scuttlebutt podcast, man, that kind of fits perfectly.
It's brilliant idea, Commander.
Yes. So that's where we're at today. Finally, I promise you guys, July 4th, this thing will kick off. Kept running into robot blocks. Finally, we got the equipment here. It's kind of a makeshift. We're going to grow. This may sound like shit today, but trust me, we're learning as we're going. This is our very first episode.
Don't judge.
Yeah,
Don't
please
judge.
Don't
Not
judge
yet.
us. If you have any constructive criticism, I'm all ears.
Yes,
So,
we would definitely take it.
so here it goes. I'm sitting here with my my co-host, Andrew Farr,
Nice.
affectionately known as Chaps.
Hey, how you guys doing? Good to meet you. Good to be here. Thank you very much, Commander Flake, for this opportunity, and I'll try to do best I can for you.
All right, man. So let's start with branch of service.
Marine Corps.
Your rank. What did you do in the Marine Corps?
I was a machine gunner 4 years from 2004 to 2008.
Well, so let's say you're back in like 11th grade high school. Do you have any idea that you wanted to be a Marine?
Not at all. Actually, I think my parents, they were pushing, like, accountant, doctor, lawyer, same as their professions. And I was not having any bit of that whatsoever.
You're like, yeah, fuck that. I want to carry a fucking machine gun.
You know what? And, but the funny story is, when I first wanted to join, I was working in Naples, Florida. I was assistant manager of a paint store. But I'm actually getting ahead of myself. Do you want me to go back all the way?
Yeah, let's start.
Like where I'm from, all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff?
yeah, let's hear it, man.
All right. Well, I was born in Nashville, Tennessee, at Baptist Memorial Hospital in 1977. Excuse me. We moved to Exeter, New Hampshire. Dad got a better job as psychiatric lead for Hampstead Hospital in Hampstead, New Hampshire. So we bought a house, or they bought a house in Exeter, New Hampshire, and grew up there for about 16 years. Went to boarding school in Massachusetts in North Andover, a little school called Brooks, the Brooks School. And after Brooks, what I have to do, go to college. So my parents were like, "Hey, you got to go to college." I'm like, "Okay, good to go." So I went to Rollins in Winter Park, Florida. That was I started in 96 to 2001. Went to college, got a BA in classical studies, history of Greece and Rome, 6 years of Latin, 2 years of ancient Greek, philosophy, all kinds of stuff. Stuff that's not going to get you paid when you get out. But I went to a job fair 1 or 2 months before I was getting out of school, my undergraduate, and it was for Sherwin-Williams. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Sherwin-Williams paint store. That's good to go. So I got, I sat down with this guy. He liked me for some reason. And because back then I wasn't as high strung as I am now.
The Marine Corps will do that too.
Yeah, I know. The Marine Corps made me into a different person. But we'll get to that later. So I sat down with this guy, Todd Whiff. He was a recruiter for Sherwin-Williams. And so he liked what he heard. So we had the interview. 3 days later, I get a call. Hey, we want to put you in the manager trainee program. I was like, okay. $31,000 a year. I was like, holy shit. That's like more money than I've ever seen in my entire life. I was like, oh my God. So I was a manager trainee for about 3 months. Then I became the assistant store manager of the Sherwin-Williams store 2049 in Naples, Florida, off of Tamiami Trail. And I did that for about, 2001 to 2004. And I remember in 2001 when all hell broke loose, and I'm not going to get into that on this fabulous Independence Day, but something happened to this country in 2001. I was in the back mixing paint for a big order. I had like 80 gallons to do, and then I would put it in the truck, deliver it to a high-rise we were doing, and I heard Howard Stern on the radio. You guys, you remember
That's
Howard
exactly how I heard it.
Yeah.
And I was in Florida. I was in. I was in Fort Myers.
What?
Yeah, I was working at the.
Get out of town.
I was tech support for Sony.
Are you kidding me?
Right in Fort Myers, yes.
Okay, this is a total shock right now because I had not heard this story. Dude, I was in Naples, Florida, and I heard heard the same radio. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I thought it was Howard Stern being funny.
I literally thought it was like a little Cessna plane or something. Some guy just got his bearings mixed up and flew it. So when Howard Stern was talking about it, I was like, wow, that's weird. How dumb is that pilot? He flew into a building.
Yeah. I was like, I was thinking, that it must have been a small plane or.
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, we get home, and you're in Florida, in Fort Myers, which is like 30 minutes north of where I was. And I go back home. I look at the news, and I'm like, oh my God. I start crying.
Yeah.
I take it. I was like, oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna join. My dad was in the Navy. My uncle was in the Army, Vietnam. My fifth great grandfather fought underneath George Washington as a major when he was Colonel Washington. So there was a lot of military in my family. And I was like, I'm going to go join. Well, my parents put the kibosh on that. They're like, nope, you're not going to do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I was still on their teat, as I like to say. I was still, begging. If I was out of money, I'd ask them. If I had any problems, I'd still like run home to mommy and daddy. So I didn't join. I didn't join in 2001. I waited 3 years. I was still working Sherwin-Williams, and I waited until 2004. Sherwin-Williams was not going well. I was doing some bad stuff. I was drinking a lot. I was doing some drugs that I'm not going to mention on this. But I was getting in a bad spot, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to, because
Right.
I quit Sherwin-Williams. I was a teller for a month, and then, boom, June 21st, 2004, I was on the Yellow Footprints, Paris
Hell
Island.
yeah.
And I did 13 weeks. Then I went to School of Infantry for another 2 months, Camp Geiger, North Carolina. And then the day of, September 17th, graduated from boot camp. December 17th, graduated from SOI. After I graduated, I went a couple streets down to this place called Camp Lejeune, and I got my assignment to 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines, India Company.
So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question
Yeah.
here. You had a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
And you enlisted in
Yeah.
the Marine Corps. Why not? Why didn't you not go OCS?
2 reasons. One, my recruiter said, hey, you should go be a Mustang instead. It'll look a lot better. I'm like, okay, sure.
Sounds cool.
That sounds cool. Like enlisted to officer. Sweet. Awesome. And lo and behold, didn't happen, obviously. I graduated from SOI, got to 3-8, and then we went on leave for like 2 weeks. Because everybody else, my seniors had just come back from Haiti. They did the whole operation down there. So they were on leave when I got there. So when they got back from leave, they punished us for being newbies. They were like, boot this, boot that. Fuck you, dude. You're worthless. And so we were. We were pond scum
Yes.
at 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. And after we got back, we went home for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. After we got home, we were at Cherry Point, ready to get on the airplane to go to Fallujah. And we were at Camp Fallujah. We turned in, and then we had to take a C-130 and then some helicopters to where we were supposed to be. And it was a little place called Karma, which is a little city outside suburbs of Fallujah. We weren't actually in Fallujah. I know I post a lot of stuff that says Fallujah, but we actually weren't there. We were at Camp Fallujah, yes, but we were at Camp Delta in Karma, in the city, in this little suburb. And that was my first coming into being of getting shot at, getting mortared. Remember February 14th, 2005 was AK-47 fire and mortars. Mortars from the front, AK from the side. And I've told this story a bunch of times. My initiation to fire, I was getting shot at and mortared, and I'm like, oh, fuck. What the fuck do I do? All my training went out the window. All of it. I was like standing in the middle of a road with my saw saying, shit, I'm fucked. And so I look to my left, and there's this telephone pole. I don't look to my right. I look to my left. And the only thing I see the telephone. I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I go there. I go to the telephone pole, and I get myself up real, like as thin, because I was as thin as the telephone pole. So I'm like hiding behind the telephone pole while all this chaos is around me. And I hear, far, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I look to my right. There's Sergeant Stockton, my squad leader, and my whole platoon. They're behind these concrete blocks. I'm like, fuck. So like, Far, get the fuck over here. So I do what anyone in that situation would do. I looked right, and I'm like, fuck, I'm out of here. And so I go, and I do this cannonball, like, leap over the concrete blocks. And I'm like, okay, Now I'm safe. But that one instance, it made me do a lot of thinking. I'm weak. I'm dumb. This. A lot of my thinking came from that interaction right there. So we did Karma from January.
How far do you think the enemy was at that point?
Oh, they were fucking close. I mean, they were close. I mean, they were fucking less than 500 feet away.
Damn.
Yeah, and mortars a little bit further, but they were coming in the front, and then I could hear the crack because the AK-47 round makes a very distinctive sound, as you all know from watching Heartbreak Ridge. But no, January 05 to August 05, I was in Karma, first deployment. We lost 8 guys that deployment. Then we came home, and we were slotted to go get deployed again. So we were home for about 5 months, and we left March 06 to October 06, Ramadi, the most dangerous city in the world, according to Time magazine. Laura Logan was there. She was with Kilo Company, like documenting them. And I was with India again, 2nd Platoon, Spartans. And we did patrols. I got my Purple Heart that summer. We took down a hospital full of insurgents. SEAL Team 3 was there. My buddy, Andrew Paul, Jocko Willings, Lieutenant Commander, was there. And they were our overwatch during the taking over of that hospital. But Ramadi was bad news bears, man. It was. Worse
than your first deployment?
That was my second.
Yeah, was it worse than your first?
Oh, yeah, way worse. Way worse. We lost 17 that deployment. And it was just hell on earth. I remember a captain giving us a little pep speech before we even, like right after we touched down. He's like, well, hey gents. Hey guys. Hey there, yoo-hoos. I know you're new here, but we're going to do a good left seat, right seat with you. But I just want you to know, if it moves, kill it. All right? Good to go. And I did some damage on the 50 cal. I was on a lot of patrols, a lot of night patrols, a lot of day patrols. I was really in really good shape back then. I was 182 pounds. I was humping a lot. I could do like 30 pull-ups back then. Right now, I'll be happy if I do 2. And then, that was second deployment, and I just, all this stuff was happening, and then we came home in October. Boom, we're slotted for a MEU. We're going aboard a USS ship, not the Carl Vinson, not the Ponce de Leon, not the Gunston Hall, but we were a Hilo company aboard the USS Kearsarge. So we started our training from October 2006, and we don't get on the ship until July 2007. But we've already gone to CAX, Combined Arms Exercise, 29 Palms. We went to Fort AP Hill, Fort Pickett, and a couple, and some other maneuvers at Chariot Point. We got time. Are you looking at the time?
No, I was. You said the Kearsarge. I was just at Virginia Beach this weekend.
Yeah, of course. Oh, you didn't see the queer bars, did you?
I was standing right at the pier, staring at the Kearsarge.
Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry, I don't mean to say that. Are you kidding me?
No, I promise you, I was.
Dude, that is where I learned about the smoking lamp. That's where I learned about it.
The smoking lamp is lit.
The smoking lamp is lit.
The smoking lamp is not lit. When a ship pulls alongside another ship and they're taking on supplies, like say, I was on an aircraft carrier, USS Carl
You were on the big one.
Yes, sir. So we had a whole support fleet. The whole fleet was there to support us. So we had oilers, tankers, that pull alongside us and shoot these cables over to us. And we pulled the cables over and hook these giant hoses over, and we'd take on fuel for our planes, JP5.
JP5. Love that smell.
As soon as the oiler would pull up next to us, the skipper would get on the horn and say, the smoking lamp is off. So nobody can smoke on the ship while we're taking out fuel for obvious reasons. Just so you guys know.
No. Yeah. Because when Marines, and you know this, Marines aboard a ship,
Yeah,
like we are not in charge. You guys are in charge.
Correct.
And so we go to like it's very boring. Like when we're underway, because we were at sea for like the longest bit of time I think was 20 days.
Yeah.
And that's a long time.
I got that beat. We did.
Yeah, of course you do.
105 days.
Jesus.
Solid.
Solid? Like no port
no
stops,
stops.
no port calls?
We did a 7-month cruise, Westpac, which Westpac stands for Western Pacific. And we sailed 4 continents in 7 months. And the first couple months, you're hitting all these ports and partying. The next 3 months plus, we're in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and it was solid. We're just.
Were you doing circles, gator squares, and all that?
Well, we're all over the place, flying sorties every day. From 0500, FOD walk down, which means foreign object damage. You have to walk the flight deck and pick up little wires and bolts and whatever, and then, all the jets, start coming alive. We had an A7 Corsair on deck one time,
nice.
And the FOD, after the FOD walk down, you'd come by with hoses and wash the deck down. So there's puddles of water. I was standing right next to this A7 Corsair. It was nicknamed the Man-Eater because the intake on this thing was massive under the nose, and it was it's a jet. So that sucker fired up, and it picked the water up off the fucking deck, and there was a vortex swirling.
What?
It was the craziest thing I ever saw in my life.
That's cool.
It was very cool. And like just the thunder of that thing, just the jets on the deck, man, your chest is literally rattling. It's the most intense, like just the sheer power of these things, and you're standing next to it. It is incredible.
Yeah.
So
no, dude, being on a Navy ship is one. It was good. I enjoyed myself. We went to Malta. We went to Dubai twice. We went to Bangladesh. We went to Ceuta Bay, Greece. We went to Rhodes, Spain. Someplace in Italy. Someplace in France. We were part of the Amphib 6. So we had the Wasp class Kearsarge, which is LHD 3. Which what does that stand for? LHD. Landing helicopter deployment or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, we had the Helo squad. You've got the AAVs. You've got the Helos, and you've got it's a MU. It's a Marine Expeditionary Unit. So you've got the air, land, and sea combination. We were on the Helo squad, so we had to do fast roping off of 53s and 46s. And those are helicopters, by the way, for those of you who don't speak military jargon. But it was a lot of fun. We got shellbacked. So thank you very much for the hazing, by the way.
That was awesome.
Yeah, because I'm looking right at this table right here, and I'm looking at a piece of paper that I got in 2007.
Yes.
And it's King Neptune. What? I mean, what is that? That's a shellback certificate.
It's my shellback certificate. Yes.
So we're both shellbacks.
Yes, sir.
So okay? Now, since you're on the boot here because you went in a lot longer. You were in a lot earlier than me. What is a shellback for our listeners out there? What is that?
So shellback initiation. This goes back hundreds of years since the first time
naval tradition. Huge.
Yeah. The Navy's like almost 250 years old. 246.
246.
Yeah, 246 years old. So it goes back a long time, and the United States Navy is not the only Navy that does this. I think all the navies do this. So
I think you're right.
When you cross the equator, the day before you cross the equator, they have a big ceremony. At least we did on our ship. So it was a beauty contest. So you have all these sailors. If you choose to participate in the beauty contest, I chose not to. I'd rather just get my ass beat rather than put on a pair of stockings and walk down a runway while people are clapping and hooting and hollering.
Good man.
That is. You literally dress up like a female, the brassiere and everything, like wigs, makeup, the whole 9 yards. And they have a beauty contest. Whoever wins this beauty contest is King Neptune's bitch the next day. Sits at the stage while people are getting tormented. I mean, that's so that person. That's their rite of passage. There, they don't have to go through the whole initiation. That is their initiation, is being King Neptune's bitch.
Ooh. Oh.
Chill out, homie.
Oh. Oh.
I would much rather get my ass beat than be King
And
King
I
Neptune's
did.
bitch.
And thank you very much for that. You know, I had to duck walk the entire length of
Yeah.
the ship. Knee knockers, ladder wells. Which,
Pollywog-
by the way,
pollywogs don't have legs, so
no, we don't. But I did have to I had to make a pollywog. Like they made us like I'm wearing my green on greens, and I've got this tennis ball, like with a sock in the back of my ass. Sorry, it was so much fun. They had us do monkey fuckers on the deck. We had to do leg lifts and all this stuff. We had to blow water. What's that? Out of the
Pad
tie
eye.
downs.
it's called a pad eye.
The pad eye. We had to blow water. They put water in it, and we'd have to blow water out of it. And they'd keep on spraying us. I gotta say, I love the Navy for that, man.
Yeah. So the day before you cross the equator, you're a pollywog. After the initiation, and you get the olive out of King Neptune's belly button with your teeth. Did you have to do that?
Nope. Didn't get to do that. Sorry, sir.
So after the whole initiation, which is an all-day initiation, it starts at like 0600 in the morning, and it goes all day. Like, I mean, there's no flight off. There's nothing going on. It's just beating the shit out of sailors that have never crossed the equator before.
And Marines. And Marines too.
And whoever's on the ship. It doesn't matter if you're the skipper, the admiral, it don't matter. You're getting your ass beat the first time you cross. The second time you cross, you're now a shellback. Now you're the one wreaking havoc on the new
hazing.
guys.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Can't say hazing. The period of instruction. That's what the term we'll use. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was pretty rough back then. Today's Navy is a little weaker, and they don't get to
No.
they don't get to make the sailors bleed anymore. I was literally
get to
a
bleed.
bloody pulp when I was done.
Well, I got my ass kicked. I mean, on the Navy ship. You guys did a good job. I was in pain. The real pain was when I picked up E4.
Oh.
After, well, and I'll go back to my first deployment. I got NJP'd for drinking in Iraq. I had to stand before the man, Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Neary, who, as you know in the news, just got fired last year for trying to do something good, but he was an idiot and opened up his mouth. No offense, sir. No offense if you're listening to this. But yeah, I had to stand fast. I was NJP'd. I was a Lance Corporal twice. I was a PFC twice. And when I picked up Corporal, I got the shit kicked out of me. They do the gauntlet. They do the pinning ceremony.
Yes.
I was bleeding from here and here. They don't do that anymore because it's a softer Marine Corps too. And no offense, guys. I know where we came from, but yes, it's a little bit more softer than when we came through. But it was soft when we came through compared to the guys before us because they really got the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah. My grandfather used to, my grandfather was in World War II in the Navy, and he used to like make fun of me for being in a soft Navy. And my Navy wasn't soft, man. Today's Navy's pretty soft.
Well,
my
see,
Navy was
it's
not
it's
soft.
perspective. Like,
Right, correct, yes.
and everybody's boot to everybody. So when you call each other a boot, yes, it is hurtful. But you know what? You're a boot too to someone else.
Yeah,
So
everybody's a boot.
just think about that. Put that in your gray matter for a little bit, okay? Just kidding. I'm not being soft. I'm just stating the truth. But beside the point, I'm sorry. I got off the rails a little bit. So came home January 2008 from the MEU after getting shellbacked, after seeing all kinds of ports of call and drinking. Oh yeah, I forgot. Went to Israel. Went to J-Town, Jerusalem. That's what we call J-Town. If you've been to J-Town, you can call it J-Town. If you haven't, you call it Jerusalem. All right, that's the rule.
That's a rule.
But no, I saw where Jesus, got crucified. I saw Jesus where he got laid down in the tomb. I mean, I'm an Episcopalian. I'm a very, very holy. I think I'm a holy man. And I go to church. Actually, just came from church today to make it to this inaugural podcast. And it's just I live with the Lord. I didn't for a little bit. I kind of denied him, but I was in a really bad place, and in a bad country that's got, that's called Iraq. That was a bad country. I kind of denied him. I was like, why? Why, God? Why would you do this? And I had to come to terms. I had to come to terms with that.
Yep.
My dad died. My dad committed suicide, 2004, second month of boot camp.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's just, I didn't really think about all the loss that I had till after I got out.
So you were in boot camp when that happened?
Yes, sir.
Did they let you come home? Or?
Oh, yeah. I buried my father. I was the first guy in my platoon to wear my Charlies, which is green pants, tan shirt, green fucking cover.
So how long did they let you go home for?
2 days.
And
My drill instructor took me to the airport in Savannah, and he was so cool. And his name is Levy. When I knew him, he was a sergeant. I saw him a year ago. Boom, Sergeant Major Levy. I go up to him. I'm at Parris Island watching a boot camp graduation. I see Levy. I'm like, Sergeant Levy? And I'm like, I look at his stack. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I go over and I hug him. I'm like, hey, Sergeant Levy. This guy was our kill hat. Like, you got your drill hat, your kill hat, and your staff sergeant. I had Staff Sergeant Bruno. He was our staff sergeant, our drill instructor, staff sergeant. And you had Sergeant Levy, kill hat. He would fuck you up. He was a Marine that if you fucked up, you were going out and you were running tree lines or becoming a sand cookie or doing an island hopping campaign, which we've got little sand pits all around Parris Island. If you get in trouble, you might be on one of those campaigns where you go to every single sand pit on the island. There's one for 2nd Battalion, one for 1st Battalion, one for 3rd Battalion, and one for 4th Battalion, and headquarters and everything in between. So you get the shit kicked out of you for like an entire day. I fucked up a lot. I did. But, I went, my dad died. He hung himself. July 27th, it's actually, his death is coming up this month. Hung himself, got home. I was living in, my parents were in Saratoga Springs, New York at the time, and I flew up there, buried him, saluted him, and then came back to boot camp. And Sergeant Levy picked me up again. He's like, and right before we got out of the car, he's like, Farr, I'm not going to be nice to you when we open the door and close it. I'm not going to be nice to you anymore, okay? I was like, got that, Sergeant. No problem. And so as soon as I closed the door, it was back to, yeah.
Isn't that crazy how they could just flip a switch like that?
It is. They got it going on. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
They can flip it off.
Yeah.
Because
My company commanders were, they're obviously assholes. They have that's their job, to be assholes to you. They're not there to be nice to you.
No.
But as soon as you graduate, it's like, hey, you want to go grab a beer? I'm like, who the fuck are you? What the hell?
Dude, exactly. When I
I'm
graduated,
scared to death of you. You want me to go drink a beer with you now?
Yeah. When I graduated, I saw our lead gunnery sergeant, and he was his name was Gunnery Sergeant Knuckles, and he was like the biggest dude I'd ever seen. He's like, "Hey, good job, PFC." I'm like, thank you, and goodbye, sir. Because I was I cried when I got my EGA. I did. I cried like a baby. But can
you explain to the non-military people what an EGA is?
Oh, EGA. Sorry, my bad, guys. EGA is Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, which is it's a little device that you get when you graduate boot camp, and it's there's an eagle, obviously, an anchor, and a globe. Now, what us Marines are taught is that we took the ocean and the sea from the Navy.
Nice.
We took the eagle represents us taking the air from the Air Force, and the world is obviously the Army because that's their domain. So the Marines, we cover land, sea, and air. We are a multi-functioning force that can operate in every climb and place. And but we have to, for some reason, we have to beg our Navy brethren to take us where we got to go. You know, I mean, they are, you know, we are the department of the Navy, the Marine Corps is. And one of the jokes is we are the men's department.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, I love my Navy guys. I really do. And I give Commander Fleek a lot of props because he was on the Carl Vinson, which is a mighty ship. I've seen tons of pictures from Facebook that he posts all the time. I was on like a little rinky-dink thing. I mean, you guys, how many souls aboard?
5,000.
Okay. Wasp class ship. That what class of ship is that? That's a
The Carl Vinson?
Yeah.
It's a Nimitz class.
It's a Nimitz class.
Yes.
Now, the Kearsarge is a Wasp class ship, correct?
Yes.
What is okay, what are the just actually this we'll do a side note here. What are the differences between all these classes of ships? You got destroyers, you got frigates, you got big ships like yours, you got little whatever rinky dink ship I was in. Subs, all this stuff.
Yeah, the classes are the very first ship of that style. So they're basically like cookie cutters after they do the first one. The USS Wasp was the first ship of its class, so that's the class of that ship now.
Okay.
The Nimitz class aircraft carriers today are all Nimitz class except for the brand new one, the Ford. So they're all Nimitz class because
the Gerald Ford. Oh,
the
yeah,
Nimitz was the first of its kind. CVN stands for Carrier Attack Nuclear, and that's what the CVN. So my whole number was CVN 70, which as soon as you say CVN 70, I know right away it's a carrier, that's attack ship, and it's nuclear. That's what the nuclear. Even though I can neither confirm nor deny that they beat us into submission to if you're ever out on leave or anywhere out in the city, reporter or anybody asks you, is your ship nuclear? I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Really?
Yeah. Even though the N is right in the name of it, CVN, everybody knows nuclear, but we weren't allowed to say whether it was nuclear or not.
Wow.
And yes, it was nuclear.
Did you guys have to stop at like Kings Bay, Georgia, or any of those places? Like, 'cause I know there's nuclear places in Groton, Connecticut, Kings Bay, Georgia, where they have the subs and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you guys usually, your ports are the big ones.
Correct.
California and Norfolk, right?
Yep. They're all, yes. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, and then a frigate is a frigate, and then a destroyer, and then one's got tomahawks, one's got big guns. Like I was talking to another Navy guy, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's not that. They don't carry big. They got one gun and tomahawk missiles, and then this other ship, like you've seen the movie Battleship, right?
Yes.
Like the USS Missouri.
Correct. Yes.
That is a battleship.
Yes, it is.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big guns plus they could deploy, what are those called? To go under the water.
Torpedoes?
Torpedoes. Thank you.
Right on.
Sorry, I'm not a Navy guy, man. I don't know torpedoes. They got torpedoes. They got big guns. They got maybe little I don't know if they have nuclear or what. I don't know. I mean, yeah. So I mean, the Navy is they're all big in tradition. You guys are as into tradition as the Marine Corps is. And you guys your birthday's coming up, October 13th.
It is October 13th.
1775. I know.
Sir.
I know that.
Right on.
Because you guys, and I got to say this with a smile, because the Army and the Marine Corps, the Army and the Navy, both were started before the Marine Corps.
Yes.
Army in June. We just had Flag Day, June 14th. Then the Navy. Then you got the Marine Corps. Hoorah, my guys. Then I think it's the Coast Guard after that. And then it's
Well, we got a new one on the block.
then it's the Air Force.
We had what about the new one on the block?
And
the
then the
Space Force. Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
Is that
didn't
really
they just get born like last year? Just kidding. I know one Space Force guy. He's down in Key West, Florida. And he runs the IW Key West hike. And I got to give him a little shit, but welcome, Space Force, welcome.
Hey, so speaking of birthdays, man, I have a buddy back home. He's a Marine. He did 2 tours in Iraq. After his first tour, he wanted to go back for a second one. He stepped up and he's like, I'm going back for a second round because he had some demons to exercise. So he took some of his loss the first time around pretty hard, and he wanted to return the favor. So he went back a second time. But the reason I bring him up, his name's Chuck McCall. He's a Marine, and his birthday is actually
November 10th.
November 10th. So he's the Marine's Marine.
That's pretty good when a Marine has
pretty intense for a Marine to be born on the birthday of the Marine Corps.
Well, speaking of that birthday, I don't mean to drag this on, but we do have a Marine Corps birthday, November 13th for my Marine Corps League. But you know what? That's a big ticket item. All right, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. I still got to finish my story, which I've totally okay. I'll get back on track.
We squirreled.
I know. I squirreled, man. I'm sorry. See, that's my brain. I got to stay in the now. So I'm done with everything, and we do our third tour, and I'm done. I'm getting out. I go on recruiting duty, and then boom, I'm out in May. I go a month early. I sell back some leave, and so I'm back to civilian world, and I'm just drinking. I mean, I'm fucked up for like 2 years straight. From 08 to 10, I am a horrible person.
Was it because you're trying to wash away what you saw?
Yeah,
or?
I am. I'm trying to forget. I'm trying to use alcohol as a crutch. By the way, I do have it in my system. I'm genetically predisposed for alcoholism. My dad was an alcoholic. I mean, he never came out and say it, but I knew he was because he had a drink every night. But I only saw one drink every night. But lo and behold, I didn't know he refilled it like every 20 minutes. Didn't see that, just saw the one, and then I had to go to bed. So, yeah, I am an adult child of alcohol. So I'm just getting back into those meetings. But I drank a lot. I tried to fake it for a long time, and it wasn't until I went to Honduras. I thought living in Honduras for a month would be a good idea. I was like, nope, that didn't happen. I jumped different places. I thought getting a different geography would change. That doesn't change your drinking. No. You're still the alcoholic, just in a different time zone or a different zip code.
Right.
So I found Irreverent Warriors. And I know you've heard about it, Commander. And I found them, and I did my first hike in 2018 in Savannah, Georgia, where I was living. I was living here in Tennessee. Moved back here. Started dating a really, really great woman, Katrina, my wife. And I found this Irreverent Warriors, and they bring veterans together using humor and camaraderie to improve mental health and prevent veteran suicide. That's our mission statement. And I did the first IW hike right. I was drunk as hell by 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was hiking. But you know what? I didn't really, really get the meaning of what they were talking about. And I got my second DUI a little bit after that. And got married in 2018. Yeah, 2018. July 21st, 2018. Me and Katrina got married. And then she went to work the next day, and I got I got wasted. I blew a .234. I pulled over the middle of the road, got out, and I told the cop to take me to jail because I was a danger to myself and to others. And I was very compliant with him, but it was my second DUI. My first one was 2009 in Savannah. Second one was here. I got into Veterans Treatment Court. I did 18-month program. While in Veterans Treatment Court, I found Irreverent Warriors. I told the president, my friend, Cindy, I'm like, hey, I've been sober 6 months. Can I do a hike? She's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, you got 6 months? You're good. Good to go. So I coordinated the the first hike Nashville's ever had, the 2019 Irreverent Warriors Nashville hike. We had 225 veterans marching around the city in their silkies and boots and flags, and it was amazing. I had to have medics, had to have road vehicles, road guards, safety vehicles, I mean, it was a lot of planning. It took me about 7 months to plan all this thing.
Right.
Because I know, like, when you're in the service, you do these coordinated hikes. And now I know what my officers had to deal with when we did company hikes or battalion hikes or whatever. There's a lot of shit that goes in it. You got to get permission from the city. You got to do this. You got to get, firefighters. You got to talk to local Leos. You got to talk to this. It's a lot of stuff going in. I mean, people think, yeah, it's just a hike. There's a lot of stuff you've got to get in with the community. You got to get businesses to donate. I raised $8,400 that year for that hike. Everything was paid for except for dinner. Breakfast was paid for. Lunch was paid for. You don't pay for booze because we do not supply alcohol because that is part of our nonprofit. We don't do that. And so I found out, this is what I want to do. I want to help out with the Reverend Warriors, and I did. And the next year I became a district coordinator, and then went through that year. Then this year I became a regional coordinator in charge of Tennessee and Alabama. So we had 5 hikes in Tennessee, 2 hikes in Alabama. We have a hike coming up in July, Chattanooga. So be there, be square. I will. I'll be there with a VFW table, but I'm changing gears again. I've done IW for 3 years now.
Right.
And I love IW. There's nothing. I have nothing against them at all. I'm gonna be transferring from hike leadership to actual VFW, Marine Corps League, VSO liaison. I'm gonna be the liaison between IW and VFW because right now, by the grace of God and by the VFW and the Marine Corps League, I'm a state officer in each one. I'm a state officer. I'm a chaplain for the VFW. And yes, I have a combat action ribbon, and I swear, and I'm a chaplain. So deal with it, okay? I know. I have to deal with it every day. If you don't like my swearing, I'm sorry. I apologize. But I'm a grunt at heart. But I'm also a man of God. I'm an ordained minister, but also the state chaplain for the VFW. I'm also the state judge advocate for the Marine Corps League for the Department of Tennessee Marine Corps League. So it's a lot of hats to wear. But I found out that my thing in life, I found this out probably 3 years ago, that I want to give back to the community, to our veteran community, to our regular community that we live in.
Yeah. I think I kind of almost had like the same epiphany. So when I got out of the Navy, I kind of struggled in my transition from military to civilian life.
It's tough.
All my friends that were back home, they were different. I mean, they weren't different. I was very much different. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
And I didn't really mesh with them anymore, and I struggled with it. And my wife talked me into joining a group, a veterans group, where I can, get that camaraderie back. Once that shit's in your blood, man, you can't ever get it out.
You can't get it out.
It's in there forever. And so the first group I ever joined was the American Legion, Fort Dearborn, Post 364.
Nice.
American Legion. And I went through the chairs, junior vice, senior vice commander. Then I moved over to the VFW, did the same in the VFW, was commander of, actually now commander of 3 different posts, 2107 in Dearborn, Michigan, 4575, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and now 12206, brand new post that just got its legs.
Right.
2
We
months
do
ago.
have a new post, don't we?
We have a lot to talk about.
We do. And that's could probably be for another day.
Yeah. Yep. And but before we close it out, because we're at 48 minutes right now, I
Yeah.
could literally talk to you forever. You brought something up about alcoholism, and so one final thought before we close it out here. So I've always thought this from day one. Uncle Sam will spend millions of dollars to teach you how to go into a war. They'll teach you how to kill. They give you they give you all the equipment you need to go over there. Let's go take these cocksuckers, and let's do it now, and let's do it swift, and let's do it fast, and with no mercy. But what they don't teach you, and I'm probably going to get choked up here because I love you guys, they don't teach you how to get home. They don't teach you how to come home and go back to regular society.
And you're gonna make me cry because I can feel it. I'm starting to well up right now.
How is that? Like one day you're in a war zone. You're in the depths of hell. I have not been to war. I was in the middle of the ocean, so I don't know what you guys went through, but I can only imagine. Just for instance, Saving Private Ryan. Holy shit, man. Like the first 15 minutes, I was sobbing like a little girl. My grandparents went through this shit. Not only my grandfathers were out there storming beaches, my grandmothers were at home wondering if their husbands are ever going to come home again. How the fuck are we not doing better for our veterans when they're just departing from the military? How is this fucking possible right now?
It's trial and error. But you said it yourself. You found a tribe, right? You found the American Legion. You found the VFW.
Did, and it helped immensely.
This is what's going to happen. This is what is going to happen. We need to get more involved. We need to get everybody more involved with the VFW to give back, because when you give back, when you start sharing, when you start becoming a part of a community, for some reason there's a change in you.
Yeah.
And when you give back, it opens up a little bit. You open up yourself. Yes, we could rely on the VA. We could rely on the VA and medications and all this stuff, but I have one. There's one thing that I could probably tell you that would help you out a lot immensely. If you are in the darkest demons of if you're in the downward spiral of your life, if you're an alcoholic, if you've got some kind of an issue, I want you to take this advice. I just finished up the Save a Warrior program last week. It was 72 hours that opened up my eyes to something that I didn't know existed. I mean, I got sober 3 years ago, yes. The veil was lifted a little bit. This one pulled it completely off. If you want any kind of help, I definitely strongly suggest Save a Warrior. Okay, www.saveawarrior.org. Okay, it works if you work it. Okay, it's a simple game that you go and you're a part of, and when you leave that game, your eyes are opened, and you can start giving back and sharing and being and part of the community. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. If you need any more information about that, please let me know. I am SAW cohort 0141. They've helped a lot of veterans, firefighters, and local Leos. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's my saved round for today. But is there anything else you want to say?
So,
Commander Fleek?
Yeah, with this final thought, man, if you're out there listening and you're a veteran, I highly suggest you find a veterans group to belong to, whether it be American Legion, AMP Vets, Veterans of Foreign Wars,
DAV.
Wherever you fit in, man. I mean, you don't have to be like us and go in, all in.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all in. I'm commander here of this new post. You're obviously very involved. You're at the state level and the post level. I'm not saying you have to go and do that, but just go in and talk. It's just good to talk.
It is. Get it off your
That's
chest. But Commander Fleek, I love you, man.
I love you, brother. And so this is the first of many. I hope we can grow this thing, and
we will. We're gonna get some good people on here. We're gonna share you guys some knowledge. Okay, big time.
Yeah. So just give you a little rundown of what we got planned here. So just in our circle that we have here, man, we have singer-songwriters that are combat veterans. Like one of them basically died, and his corpsman brought him back to life, and he had a broken back. They told him he's never going to walk again. Not only is he walking, he's touring the country. He's got a beautiful wife.
Stop 22.
Five great kids. He started Stop 22. I mean, the guy's just got a phenomenal story. There's another one, Sal Gonzalez. He lost a leg in combat. He says he donated it to Freedom.
God bless Sal. God bless him for that donation.
We have the founder of Heroes Vodka.
Travis McVeigh, he's a part of our post. Dean Wegner, Authentically American Apparel, he's a member of our post. We have anything you need done, give us a call, because we probably have somebody in our post that can get it done. Greg Pease, I mean, he was my realtor, and he's an amazing man. He's got a great story.
Man, that guy is the best motivational speaker
I
have ever heard.
Hands
talk.
down. Hands down.
And he works out like that. The dude's just a beast, man. He is ripped.
I know.
He defies the law of physics, this
He
man.
does.
And he's a Marine. Like, I like the Marines are like they're on another level, man. When they do something, they're like I can't even explain.
Balls to the wall, baby.
Balls
Balls
to
to
the
the
wall,
wall. And with that, I just want to say God bless you all. And if you need anything, please, 615-490-5715. You can contact Commander Fleek via Facebook. If you have his number, he's probably going to have it streamed on this.
I will. My number is 313-909-0128. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to call. And if I can't help you, Andrew can't help you, I guarantee you
Somebody's going to help
we
you.
know somebody. We know who to put you in front of. So please, 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 please call us because 22 veterans a day are killing
Way too
themselves.
many.
And it is crazy and it's unheard of. I just have no words for that. It's just call us, please.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you from Andrew Farr and the Scuttlebutt Podcast. And
Richard Fleek. Hey, we'll talk to you again in probably 2 weeks.
all right, you guys take care.